There is a way of living that most people have forgotten. A way where life does not feel like a constant struggle. Where you are not forcing everything to happen, yet things begin to flow. Where you are not chasing endlessly, yet you are not falling behind. Ancient wisdom speaks of this state, a state where effort still exists, but it feels light, where action is taken, but without tension, where life is lived, but without resistance. Master Shi Heng often speaks about this idea, not directly as something mysterious, but as something simple that we have complicated. Because the truth is, life was never meant to feel this heavy. The stress, the constant pressure, the need to control everything. These are not natural. They are learned. You were not born overthinking every step. You were not born forcing outcomes. You were not born trying to control how everything unfolds. But somewhere along the way, you forgot how to live naturally. Instead, you started pushing for success, pushing for validation, pushing for control. And the more you push, the more resistance you feel. This is where struggle begins, because life does not respond well to force. It responds to alignment. And the moment you understand this, you begin to see things differently. You begin to move differently. You begin to live effortlessly. Why life feels hard? Most people believe life is supposed to be difficult, that struggle is necessary for everything, that if something feels easy, it must not be valuable. But this belief creates unnecessary tension, because instead of moving with life, you start fighting it. You try to control outcomes. You try to predict everything. You try to predict everything. You try to frustration builds before their time. And when things do not go as planned, frustration builds. This is where stress comes from. Not from life itself, but from resistance to life. You want things to happen faster. You want certainty. You want guarantees. But life does not operate that way. It unfolds naturally. In its own time, when you resist this flow, you create pressure. Pressure to perform, pressure to succeed, pressure to always be in control. And this pressure turns simple things into heavy burdens. Even small decisions feel overwhelming. Because your mind is always trying to manage everything. This constant effort drains you, not physically, but mentally. You feel tired even when you have done very little, because forcing life requires energy. A lot of it. Ancient wisdom teaches something different. It teaches that struggle is not always necessary, that there is a way to act without forcing, a way to move without resistance. But to understand this, you must first see how much unnecessary effort you are creating. Because most of the time, the difficulty you feel is not coming from the situation. It is coming from how you are approaching it. And once you realize that, you open the door to something new. The principle of effortless living does not mean doing nothing. It does not mean being passive or avoiding responsibility. It means acting without inner resistance. There is a concept in ancient wisdom often described as flow, a state where your actions are natural, not forced, not rushed, just aligned. In this state, things feel easier, not because life becomes simple, but because you are no longer working against it. Master Shi Heng often reflects this idea in his teachings. He emphasizes awareness, being present, moving with intention, not tension. When you are aligned, your actions become efficient. You do what needs to be done without adding unnecessary pressure. You stop overthinking every step. You trust the process. You allow things to unfold. And this trust removes resistance. When resistance is gone, energy flows freely. Your mind becomes calmer. Your decisions become clearer. You act with confidence, not fear. And because you are not wasting energy on overthinking or forcing outcomes, you actually become more effective. This is the paradox. The less you force, the more things begin to work. Because you are no longer blocking the natural flow. You are working with it. Effort is still there, but it feels different. It feels light, focused, intentional. And from this place, results come naturally. How to live effortlessly. Living effortlessly is not something you achieve overnight. It is something you practice through small, consistent changes in how you approach life. The first step is letting go of control, not completely, but enough to allow flexibility. Understand that you cannot control everything, and you do not need to. Focus on what is in front of you, the present moment. The second step is awareness. Notice when you are forcing something, when you are overthinking, when you are creating pressure where it is not needed. This awareness allows you to pause. And when you pause, you create space. space to choose a different approach. The third step is trusting the process, not blindly, but with understanding. Know that not everything needs to happen immediately. Some things require time, and forcing them will only create resistance. The fourth step is simplifying your actions. Do what is necessary, not everything, not all at once, just the next step. This reduces overwhelm and keeps you moving forward without pressure. Finally, learn to be present, because effortless living only exists in the present moment. Not in the past, not in the future, but here. When you are fully present, your actions become natural. You respond instead of reacting. You move instead of forcing. And slowly, life begins to feel lighter. Life was never meant to be a constant struggle. The heaviness you feel is not always coming from life itself. It is coming from resistance, from forcing, from trying to control everything. But the moment you let go, even slightly, something changes. You breathe easier. You think clearer. You act with less tension. And life begins to flow, not perfectly, but naturally. Effort does not disappear, but it becomes lighter, more focused, more aligned. So instead of pushing harder, try something different. Slow down, observe, and move with life, not against it. Because sometimes the most powerful way to move forward is to stop forcing and start flowing.